Thank you. All right, are y'all excited? Yeah. I need to hear the excitement in the room. We are about to go into the family business panel. I'm super excited about this panel. And the reason that this panel came about is because last year I had so many people at the retreat that were dealing with mother wounds. They had issues with their relationship with their mother. And I was like, okay, so this year we had to make sure that this was something that we talked about. On the stage with me, I have my mother, Sabrina Clark. I have my pastor, Pastor Kim, Real Talk Kim, and then her mother, Apostle Ann. So we are going to share some insight about mother-daughter relationships. We're going to talk about even family business, like how do we work together? Because we do both work with our mothers. So how does that look? And we'll have a little bit of time at the end for some Q&A. And we just going to jump right in. We are going to jump right in. So we're going to start with, was your relationship ever in a bad place? If so, what caused it and how did you improve it?
Rebellion. Rebellion. Yes, of course. Of course, our relationship was in a bad place for years. You know, I remember even before my daughter was probably 15, maybe 14, she would send me to my room crying. Until finally one day, I was in my room crying, and the Lord really, I think the Spirit spoke to me and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing? This is not the way it's supposed to look." So then I realized it was not flesh and blood that was warring with each other, but it was a spirit that was of dissension that was trying to take us out. So I walked right out of that room and looked at her and said,
beat me.
No, I did not. Hey, so I looked my daughter in the face and I said, I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to that spirit that's driving you. I rebuke you in Jesus' name. And you know what my daughter did? She turned her little self around and went right to her bedroom, didn't say another word to me. And I'm like, whew, so that's how you're doing.
Well, LaShonda and our relationship was perfect. We did not have any problems. That sounds good, right? But it's not true. We did have issues, but it was the opposite of what Apostle Ann just said. I was more of the one that was a little immature, and she was very mature. So the problem was the world and my flesh taking over. As my daughter grew up and she was growing up, she made the more wiser decisions. So with our relationship, I was mainly the issue at the beginning because I didn't grow up yet.
You were also only 17.
Yes.
Yeah, so my mother was 16 when she got pregnant with me. 17, just turned 17 a few days before I was born. And so she says all the time we grew up together.
You did.
We really did. And so like I want to go into how did we improve that. So we've had our moments that weren't so pretty. How did we get into a better place? I know for me, sometimes I just backed away and waited, gave it some time. I love my mom to life, but I've told her on several occasions, like, if you come in between me and my relationship with God, she would have to go. I love her to life, but if it comes down to me choosing between you and God, I'm choosing God. And every single time. And so the reality of that, people, it sounds harsh, but I use the story of Jesus all the time when his mother and brothers came to the door and they were like, "Jesus, your family here." And he was like, "Who is my mother and my brother?" My family are those that are building kingdom. And when I remember when I first read that, I said, Jesus, that was kind of harsh. Like, you couldn't go to the door for your mom? your mom is at the door and you really acting like you just don't know her. But as I got older, I started to really understand it wasn't anything against his mom. It's like I have a timeline here. Yes. It's things I have to do for my father. And if you're interrupting that timeline, it doesn't matter who you are. I have to keep going in God.
And that's exactly what she did. So I decided to join her.
Y'all see a whole different person here. Like, I'm so proud of the transformation just in the past, maybe, 5 years? Oh my goodness, whole new.
You know, for me, my mom and I have a great relationship now, but it did not become great until I was in my 40s because me and my dad were so tight, and we had that rivalry with my dad. And I had to start understanding that I had wounds, but so did Mimi, because Mimi was raised with a mother that was addicted to, she was mentally ill, yeah. And Mimi had to grow up and become the parent to her brothers and sisters. And so there was so much baggage there, and we really began to heal after my 18-year marriage ended. My son's father and I walked through a divorce, and I had to move back in with her. And I was devastated. I was like trying to do my oh hell no moments and oh hell no. But I had to move back in with my mom, and I know that was God because I never dreamed in a million years that I'd be doing what I'm doing today. And that couldn't have taken place unless I'd fixed all the wounds, all the scars. And so I moved back in with my mother, and in that season I realized, oh my God, she's not after me. Like, she doesn't hate me. We were both just really wounded, and we were walking on this healing path together. And man, the respect I have for her, then my daddy got sick, and we had to work together. Yes. And that was scary, but that's when we fell in love with each other. Really, the pandemic. That pandemic, we started doing prayer calls together and communion, and my respect for Mimi now is out the roof, but before, I loved to see her cry. I'd be like, her nose would start turning red, and I'd be like, yeah, that's what you get. Trying to pit me and my daddy against each other. But she's the greatest Mimi ever, but we did not get on the same page until my 40s.
Adulthood, wow.
I was your mom, I was the ratchet one.
So
She was righteous, I was ratchet.
It was just the opposite. Yeah, she was right.
Now we're both righteous.
Yep.
I got
There you go.
little hood, but we good.
Still working through it. Okay, so moving into now, so now we have our relationships in great places, right? So what does business look like? Because y'all, and I'm gonna go ahead and start and tell them myself. I warned my family when I started my businesses. I said, if I give y'all jobs, you can be fired. Okay. You can. So it's a certain level of excellence.
Savage over here.
It's a certain level of excellence that I'm gonna operate in. And if I feel like, even if you're family, if you're not upholding that level of excellence, we gonna have a little problem.
What if it's Danny?
I've had to fire him. She said, what if it's Daniel? That's my husband. I've had to fire, he's not here yet, so I can talk about him. I've had to fire him, y'all. And yeah, I did it in a real gentle way, but yeah, it was like,
I love you, baby, but you're gone.
Yes, like, sir, you can't.
We can sleep together, but not work together.
There you go. And so let's talk about what that looks like and how does business look with y'all?
We're very tight in business.
You know, because my daughter's got so many things going, she will say to me, you're the one person that remembers everything. So, I mean, like, I remember when she came to me saying, we need to get a book. We need to write a book. And I'm like, nobody in our family's ever written a book, so what does that look like? So I just got at the computer, and I tell her.
I said, figure it out.
I told her a while ago, she said, you know, we're talking about this, and I'm like, I just do what you say. And honestly, it's the truth. Like, she called me 3 weeks ago and said, Mom, I need you to write a children's book. And
I said the Lord dropped it in my spirit that you need to write a kid's book.
and so within 2 days, I had the book written.
It's phenomenal.
So,
Phenomenal.
so she has great ideas. So, and like even when she started her T-shirt business, I mean, yeah, I was right there. I was also pressing and ironing and whatever. I mean, and I was also at Griffin at the
Buying
sock
shirts.
shop, buying all these dollar T-shirts.
She my road dog, man.
Because you know what? I believe in her.
Oh.
And I so believe in her that when she says something, I know it's the Holy Spirit. So I just start doing it. I just work with her. So whatever, I mean, the suggestions, that's all I tell her. Give me the track, I'll run on it.
She does it.
And we work really well together because of
Like, I want to start a publishing company next. 'Cause y'all know I don't have enough going on. And we got it. Like, we're starting a publishing company. But it's because of this one. I think so often what happens is we want to fight our mom. But a lot of times it's just your mom or your daughter needs to be brought in and feel like they're being heard. You know? And so I even remember when I had my first conference, I called it Conquering Hell in High Heels. And I didn't even preach. I was like, all these people coming to this conference is gonna die with a thunderbolt coming through the roof if I try to preach, because I'm not ready yet. But I knew that God was using me. I just didn't believe in me. And I just had this idea of I've gotta be so much before I can do this. That's why I'm like, yo, let's grow together, let's go. You ain't gotta have it together, let's just go. It's because she wouldn't let me. She was like, you're doing this conference and you're gonna put it on, but if you can't preach,
That's okay.
that's okay. You'll just introduce everybody. So for the first 3 years, I didn't even preach my own conference.
But she was the gatherer. She was the gatherer. I knew, and even now, her books, people have said to me, whiten the word, because I love whatever she tells me, I'm like, okay, I can write this, because I am a writer. I know
Phenomenal writer.
I love.
She's definitely the ghostwriters of all my books.
But all she,
I don't think you were supposed to tell.
I don't
No,
care.
it's okay.
I don't care. Not even a little bit.
Hey, I can think.
We sit together, but
We do. It's like it's like when I'm writing, I'm like channeling her.
Oh, that's good.
Honest to the Lord. I write first person because, I don't care, it's her books. She's got the platform. She's got the people that will buy these, but I could write a book a week and I might have 10 books sold. But thank God, she's got the platform where thousands of books get read because of who she is, and I believe in her.
But it's also because I realize that it takes a team to make the dream. So I think the problem with most of us women is we're so afraid to let go because maybe we weren't protected with our mothers, or maybe our mamas did the best they could do. They didn't know what else to do. They couldn't fight your dad when he was beating y'all. And so I think what happens is we have this anger, but your mama got you. Your daughter's got you. Y'all got built-in best friends. And so I think that's the greatest gift that we ever gave ourselves, LaShonda, was I realized that I can't go by myself. It's got to take everybody that God's brought in my life. And so, y'all, your platforms are so much bigger than this. You're so much bigger than just the soap business in your county gas station. You are so much bigger. Your calling, your destiny is for the world. And so it's embracing those people around you and fixing the wounds. God can't fix the scar if you don't show him. God can't reveal what you don't heal. And so now we work so good together. This is my right hand.
Let me say one more thing. And I think what got me where I could work with my daughter was I fixed me and my mom.
Oh yeah, that was huge.
Because my mom lost a baby that was 2 years old. I was 7. When that baby died in 3 days, he was not sick. He got sick, had got meningitis. Nobody knew what it was. 3 days later, died. And my mother turned into, I lost my mom. They had to drug her so she could even live. She just couldn't exist without drugs. And then she was around finding every doctor that would give her more drugs. Went on for years and years and years and years until Oh, good Lord, my dad was, I was 50 when my dad passed away. And then I realized I was going to have my mom because they both live with me. And at that point, I thought, God, how do I do this? Because, I mean, we did not have a good relationship. They lived with me, but my dad was our buffer. I took care of them, and I said, I'll take care of you financially, and I was always respectful, but that was as far, I couldn't do more than I could do. But during that time, I got a hold of a book called Feelings Buried Alive.
Never die.
Never Die. That book, when I started reading it, I would sit in a recliner and hold that book to my chest and sob, knowing that's me, that's me. And then I flipped to the back of the book and it said, these are the diseases that come from holding anger and bitterness and unforgiveness. And man, you're talking about lupus and cancer and arthritis and I mean all of these diseases. And I had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I thought, God, I've got to fix this. I can't be like my mother was when my mother had arthritis. And then God supernaturally healed her, miraculously. But in the middle of that, I found one thing. I was praying one night and I was like, God, I can't do it. I was crying. I was like, God, what do I do? And the Lord spoke to me and said, go to your mom. I went in, by then my mother was like 79 and she was not I'm 77. She was not my 77. She was not active and going. She was like just a little old lady that she didn't do anything but just sit all day long, very sedentary. And that night I went in her room and she's sitting in her little recliner, had been watching TV, Christian television, and then she was going to read her Bible for the night. And I said, before you read your Bible, would you do something for me? And I got down on my knees by her recliner. And I said, I'm going to say some things to you, and all I want you to do is say, I forgive you, Ann. And my mother, I started saying, Mom, I want you to forgive me for feeling like you abandoned me when I was little. And she started crying and saying, what are you talking about? You're the best kid we had. Look, you're the one that's taking care of us. You took care of Dad until he died. And I'm like, no. I don't want to hear anything about anything. I said, all I need is you to work with me. Just work with me tonight, okay? And then I said, and I want you to forgive me for feeling like you rejected me because of your medications. And then I said, I want you to forgive me for me feeling like you abandoned me. Because all of a sudden I was the mother and she was just in the bed all day, every day. And I watched my mother just fell apart. She was just crying and saying, I forgive you. I don't know that she understood what she was doing, but she also was letting stuff go because it was a spiritual thing I was doing that night. And I'm telling you, after that, everything changed in my life. I had a different outlook on life. I fought depression. But yet I never let it take me down because I watched my mother be ruled by depression. So in my mind, I was going to do it. But I didn't have to do it in my mind any longer. God was taking care of things. And because I knew if I didn't win the battle of my mind and letting stuff go, then it would follow my daughter. I knew it would follow my kids and grandkids. And so help me, it was the greatest joy of my life was to develop at 78, 79 a relationship with my mom, and she died at 83. And I could look at her body as my sister and I were fixing her hair for the casket. We were standing there fixing her hair, and I said, I have no regrets. I have no regrets. I did everything I was supposed to do. I wouldn't be who I am today. I live in peace. I am not alone. I am not lonely. I live alone, but I'm not lonely. Because I always have the Holy Spirit with me. Always.
So
anyway.
I love you.
Well, that's a good story. It's always good to be able to heal those wounds, those invisible wounds. That's a really good way to start your journey and to continue on. So my invisible wound was me. I was in my own way with my own negative thoughts and my own negative decisions. So I had to do my self-inventory. once I began to work on me, our relationship got better. She trusted me to work at her business, but I could get fired at any moment. Any given moment. I would say, Shonda, I forgot. She said, I said, oh, I think I'm about 2 seconds to get fired. For real, I forgot to do this. I'm gonna get it. No, yes, ma'am.
Fire you like that. I get warning.
That was a warning. Yes. So as she continued to let me work for her and take notes and do the daily operations of her business, I said, I have to continue my education. So I went back to school and I got my MBA. So she trusted me a little more. I got the job a little bit longer, and I also got a new title. But it all stemmed from me working on myself, doing my self-inventory so that my fruit can show. Now, I do have problems with my mom. It's something that I have to work on, but I couldn't work on that until I worked on me.
Come on. That's true.
And as I worked on me, our relationship got better. So now we can incorporate my mom in this, hopefully soon. But it has to be something that she's willing to do. Because we have 5 generations. And in order to break those chains, we have to work together, but it's something that you have to want to do within. See, I wanted to do mine within. That's right. And if they don't do it within, we still have to keep moving forward.
Because we can't keep sweeping things under the rug.
Right.
A lot of times that's what's causing the mother-daughter issues. It's been generational things that have just been swept under the rug and we're not addressing them.
But that's some people's way of handling their problems, just to sweep it under the rug.
Yeah,
I want to talk about it. So we can talk about it. Now, we can end up off the phone and saying, I don't agree with you, I don't agree with you, but it's okay. We talked about it and we agreed to disagree. And then I call it back, I say, you still don't see what I'm trying to say?
I called back for something else and she still want to address the last issue. Like, I thought we just agreed to disagree.
Not really.
But you know what I thought about this? We just agreed to disagree. I thought we were done.
No. We had to try it again, because if you don't try, you'll never know. Right? So I do try to get her to see my way completely. And then I realized, okay, she got her own view, I got my own view, and we're going to work it out. Yeah.
So one thing I do want to point out that's interesting with our relationship, when we work together, and I don't know if this is just cultural, so y'all tell me, I think this might be a kind of a black thing. You don't call your mama by her first name, right? Is that you don't? Okay. So not calling your mama.
My daddy would come out the grave and knock me inside the head.
Right, so you don't call your mama by her first name. But when I started doing business meetings, I couldn't be like, Mom, like we're on the.
That's honor.
Right, so I call her Sabrina in meetings, and when I'm addressing her like to someone else, like, you'll meet with Sabrina. But y'all, I never thought I'd be able to do that. I ain't got a beating yet. But that's just my way of trying to keep it professional. Right.
I call her Mimi. I just that's my Mimi, letting people know. You mess with her, you got me coming towards you, baby. I don't know that I could call my mom Ann. Maybe that's a culture thing.
Yeah, I never thought I could call her Sabrina.
It's only in meetings.
I'd be like, what's your middle name? What's your middle name?
Janice.
Sabrina Janice, get over here.
That's not gonna work.
She said, no, that ain't gonna work.
That's not going down. So yeah, it's no disrespect, but that is something that I noticed was unique in our situation with business. I will, and I'm.
Mimi calls me Pastor Kim. Or PK.
Yeah, and she definitely does that too. She's like, Dr. LaShonda, and I'm like, you can just call me.
I'm just proud. I'm a problem.
Oh, she said that yesterday. You said that. Remember when you said, oh no, that was Angelo. I was one of y'all.
So, and you brought up Angela. We're going to move right into that, right? 'Cause
Oh.
she recently got married. Pastor Kim got married.
I can't even believe it, y'all. I cannot believe the ride that I'm on.
I'm
The
excited for
love
you.
that I have for this man. Y'all know I tried a few times. Third time was gonna be a strikeout. But God, it was a part of the healing. It really was. It was a part of the healing that's taken place even in my life, even in the last 3 years. Just watching as I've evolved and become soft and realize that you can still make millions of dollars and have a man that still runs your house. I just thought because you were a businesswoman, you couldn't ever have anybody over you because that's what society told us. But I have a really great, confident man that loves me like crazy. That big old fine looking man back there, like, I just keep staring at him the whole time. I've been back here saying, that is mine. Like, we've been married 4 months and I am just, and he don't even know, look, he finally just called that I was talking about him. He just, I love you, baby.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Oh, let me see.
And it's been amazing watching that journey. But I want to go into what
Well, let's share how long
changed.
you've been married and stuff.
Oh.
That's what-
So I've been married for 5 years, and my husband is back there with her husband. And he don't know we talking about him yet either. So
They don't even know we're talking.
He's not listening at all. My husband is not listening. But yeah, so we've been married for almost 5 years.
Because we just informed him of what was going on.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, y'all snitched on me. Y'all snitched on me. Y'all was not supposed to tell that.
He did that with that
goodness.
smile.
Right, it's not even safe. I thought this was a safe place.
Angelo told him. Angelo goes speak with the man now.
I thought this was a safe space. Oh my goodness.
That was funny.
Oh. Soon as he came in, y'all done snitched on him. That's okay though. He know it's the truth. I did. Didn't I do it nicely though? I love you. We're gonna move on. Before I get in trouble.
This.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
He's
to
still
create trouble.
healing.
I'm sorry, baby. So, so we've been married for 5 years, and you just got married. So what I know some people last year, some of their issues with moms were like transitions. It's like, I don't know what happened, but at some point there was a shift in our relationship, right? And so sometimes marriage can be that shift. So what changed in our relationships when we each got married?
It's been 5 long years and we have not been out to eat together. We have not went to the movies just together, her and I. It's been 5 long years since we went out to eat just together. Just me and her. That's how long it feels in my mind. So what had happened was she got married in 2019 and things slowly began to change. This was my partner. We would go to different places here in Georgia. It was like so many different places to go, grand openings. We would go together. Now she takes Daniel. And I'll get a phone call. We went such and such, the food was good. You should try it.
At least you get a phone call.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Hey, I see it on her story. I have to follow her story to see what she's doing.
Well, Shonda doesn't post a whole lot, so I get a phone call later, or I check on her, and she said, we're just getting back from such and such. That's how it goes. But I gained a son, so I like that, and we do go out together. We go out together.
The whole family.
The whole family. I didn't realize that till I went to lunch with Mimi, and Mimi said, well, how did your relationship change when you got married? I said, I didn't even think about how she.
what I'm saying?
I didn't think about it. And so once she said it, I was like, oh, our relationship did change really drastically.
Tell me.
So I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did not think about that.
You know, for us, y'all know we were like, she traveled all over the world with me. And she would iron my clothes and, what?
And you just shut me down.
Y'all, listen, she went from taking care of my daddy to taking care of me. And one day we were sitting in the car, coming back from one of our trips.
I did it.
And she said, baby. And you know, her nose started getting red and she's tearing up. She said, I want you to be alone forever. I said, Mimi, I got you, girl. Like, we traveling the world, like, we just living.
In our little convertible.
In my little convertible, like, we just living. And she's like, I know, but I'm not gonna be here forever. And that
I didn't know you were
started.
gonna get them that quick.
I think I just let myself, all of a sudden I was like, okay. Because I knew that I was fine being single. Like, I got to pastor a great church, a great inner circle. I got great friends. And Mimi, I mean, we danced on lives every day, like two white women with no rhythm. And sure enough, right after she said that, God brought Angelo in my life in, man, 3 months. And it was like, balls to the wall.
So Mimi, what did that feel like for you, the transition of?
You know, the strangest thing, when it happened, I'm the one, Val, who schedules Kim. I told Val last year, don't schedule me for trips the next couple of months because I was getting my house ready for sale, and then I was going to be moving to downtown. And so she did. She started traveling with her more because I had so much to do. Well, I never went back to traveling with her again. In the meantime, Angelo comes along. But thank you. I think this year, twice I got to go on trips with him. But what's funny is I moved into a condo downtown. My life has been so busy. It's like everything changed for me. I started an exercise program 5 days a week. I got all kinds of friends.
And she never had a friend.
No, and
like,
so
I don't remember growing up you ever having a friend, and now all these little old ladies, they go to like 77,
But
and
are
they're all
active.
happy and healthy, and they go to different coffee shops, and so she put an effort. Go ahead, Mimi.
Yeah, and so because of that, it's like, God, I know God was in the middle of it. Because I have not sat home one day and said, I just can't believe she did this to me.
Right.
Can't believe she got married and left me. It hasn't happened. It's been the most amazing journey, and I know it was all God. I know it was. But I was able to feel my life just filled up. And so I broke my knee 2 months ago. I was just stupid, just fell. And not really, I tripped over long pants, so be careful.
Trying to be
Wear long pants on concrete. But when that happened, and it shut me down for 2 months, and I thought, man, I don't get shut down because I'm going every day. I'm always on the road. And then for 7 weeks, I couldn't even drive. And it's the weirdest thing looking back. How in the world? It was okay. It was okay because I look out my window and I see Bloomingdale's and TJ Maxx and Off Saks, and then somebody would come by to see me and they'll grab my wheelchair. Then I had a wheelchair. Let's go shop. So they would take me shopping. Honestly, I never got to that point where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so bored stiff, I can't handle this another day. It's like somebody always came by at the right time. I promise you, if you give yourself to God, if you truly fall into His arms, if you truly say, God, have your will with my life, every day I say, direct my steps today. He's been doing that for me, honestly. So watching this one with the happiness, being married to Angelo, it's a joy for me. But not only her. Yesterday I was talking to her oldest son, Morgan, who lived with me for several years, and so we still, talk to each other every week. And he's like, one thing he said, it's amazing how Angelo makes my mom so happy. He said, I like that Angelo makes my mom happy. And I thought, that's what it's about right there. So you know what? I'm okay. Maybe we need to go out to eat.
Sounds it's just really sad that you've made so many wrong decisions.
I'm serious.
That when you make a right one, everybody's like, yeah! Even your own kids, it's just like redemption is God's plan.
It wasn't time.
It wasn't time. And so redemption is God's idea for you. So if you feel like you've come to this hill retreat and you're like, I'm not going home the same, you will not go home the same. But you have to have that moment where you say, I'm getting up. And I am not staying here. And I might be 78 years old and still never been loved right, but I'm about to fall in love. And baby, it is about to be the love romance of my life because God never created me not to feel this kind of love.
That's good.
Beautiful. You're going to find one.
We are going to open it up for a few questions. Anyone have questions, especially about mother-daughter relationships?
So I think my biggest struggle, so I have two daughters, one is 18 and one is 26. The biggest struggle that I have with my daughter is my 26-year-old daughter, she's always shut herself off. And if she don't shut herself off, then she tries to control the house, and at first it was controlling me. So we kind of got to a place where when she got about 18 years old, she just tried to control the house so much, and I just told her, you can't do that here. So unfortunately, I had to tell my daughter that she had to leave. One day, I didn't know where my daughter was at. She had a car and everything, but I trusted God, and I knew that God would take care of her. I think the hardest part with me now, because my daughter is she has her own apartment and everything, and I'm trying to kind of like build that because I really don't. I think she's mad at me because I was also a young mother. I had 5 children at the age of 26. I had my first at 17. And I grew up with my kids, but I did everything possible, anything. I went to school, I worked 2 jobs, whatever.
Man.
So to come for somebody like that, I try to explain to my kids, I could be on drugs, I could be an alcoholic, I gave up friends, I gave up partying, everything to be a mother. But when I see my daughter, I feel like she almost regrets me for something that I don't think I could give her. I only had the capacity to give her so much.
You gonna make me cry.
And I really, my 18-year-old daughter is just like, she's younger, she understands, we click. And so now it's like, mommy like you more. And
Oh, yeah.
it's not, I never made my children feel like, I've always made them feel like they were number one. They never had to argue over who did. But here's the thing that I realized in life. Each child is different.
Yes.
And when it came to my oldest son, who's 28 now, when it came to him, he always understood, regardless of whatever it was. He says, Mama, I watched you. I saw you do everything. But for some reason, they only 11 months apart. She didn't see none of that.
Right.
She's a girl.
Then you get to an 18-year-old after already having 4. This is the last one now. And she got it. So what I find myself doing is praying every day, and that's why I came here today. So the thing that brought me to really make me feel like this one was for me, it wasn't the release and let go. I didn't know how to do that at home. I'm a prayer warrior. I have Jesus. It was more of the things that I want to be able to let go in myself because I want to be able to forgive me for my daughter not. Because I know I did everything and I hold it. I have such a sweet heart and I try to do everything I can. But I feel like when I've done everything that I can and a person try to look at me as if I'm the bad person, then I feel guilt. So then I try to do everything around that. But I got to a point and I was just like, you know what? If you feel that way about me, okay, it is what it is. This is what I'm telling her, but on the inside, that's not what I feel. So I came here today to release that hurt from myself because I know I was a good mother. Let me tell you something. I got testimony after testimony where I can actually help other people that are struggling with children at my age because God gave me that. And I know that I put forth every single thing. I went from 4 different careers because I wanted to see which one was going to really take care of my children. And when my daughter don't see those sacrifices, it just really kind of like. But then God said to me one day, He said, she will. And I'm still waiting on that moment when she will, because like right now my daughter is in a situation and it's totally out of my control. Shelby, no, I pray for my daughter all the time, but it's gonna take God.
Yeah.
Because I can't do it.
Sometimes it takes the wait. It takes waiting and praying. Anybody else want to add to that?
So when my kids, I got one that understood, but number one, girls are different. Okay? But I think it's giving yourself permission. Where I healed, because I was right where you are. I think every single person in this room, every mom in this room has a story where they feel like one of their kids just don't get it. They're always going to be one that's going to remind you, going to tell you about you when they get mad. I think the greatest gift I ever gave myself was I went through deliverance. I went through a deliverance with a guy named E.O., and for 4 hours, this man, I didn't know it, but it was me. I needed deliverance from me. I was so ashamed that I wasn't like my mother. I was so ashamed that I couldn't cook. I was so ashamed that I was terrible with men, that choices in men. I was so ashamed. There was just so much baggage. And I began that day on a journey of forgiving me. And every time my son or sons would say something, I'd be like, you're right. And I'm sorry. I never said anything. I never rebutted them. I never was like, but you don't understand. Never. I was like, you're right, and I'm sorry. And now my boys are so proud of me. When just 11 years ago, I was in her house, driving with one eye, drunk, home. And now they're getting to watch their mom. I ain't got to explain it no more. Because if God's really going to fight my battles, I got to get out of his way. And so for you, sis, you came here. God already forgave you. God sometimes has to put you in a position, your child in a position where your daughter is going to hit rock bottom and find the rock at the bottom, which is Jesus. My mama couldn't save me. My mama would hear me upstairs in her house bawling and heaving and crying and weeping, and she did not come up to save me.
Because God told me not to.
Because God told her not to. And so today, you got to be released. You got to stop saying how you went and found all these jobs and how you did this, and you're trying to convince yourself. When you're really healed, you ain't got to say none of that. You just like, look at me now. I created all 5 of you. Y'all 5 are healthy and strong. I did it as a single mom. I would just simply say, I have 5 kids at 26. Won't he do it? And you ain't even got to explain yourself. Forgiveness is already in the room. And your daughter, the reason your daughter keeps attacking you is because she knows it bothers you. But the minute you just start saying, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry, baby. I understand, baby. That's all you got to do. Don't let them get a rise out of you.
That's what I was going to say. She knows what button to push because she does see the good in you. But right now, it's a spirit in her that wants to bring out the worst in you. She wants your flesh to override the Holy Spirit. And if you keep giving it to her, you're going to keep feeling empty. So you have to forgive yourself first. I called my children I had 3 children by 20. And as I began to transition from worldly to godly, I called each one of them and let them know that I was sorry. This one here said, I think you already told me that this make your second time. You need to forgive yourself. So honestly, you have to forgive yourself. Once you forgive yourself, one of the things is you have to check yourself. You want to check yourself. Check yourself and work on it. And so your fruit can start to show. You have more patience with your daughter. You have more peace because God's peace is the best peace ever. And once you get God's peace, your daughter will not be able to
I hope every time you start beating yourself up, you just remember me saying, girl, you had 6 kids, 5 kids at 26. You the GOAT. That's good, man.
So that's something that God definitely told me to make sure I pointed out in this panel. I have an amazing relationship with my mother, right? But Pastor Kim, I needed that spiritual motherly love too. And so I'm really grateful that God in this other people that God sent to give me that motherly love that I needed in a different way than what I get from my mother. And so please know that there's restoration out there, right? The relationships can be restored. And you can pray and ask God for that.
So good.
And even if the relationship for some reason isn't restored or your mother is no longer here, God will send other mothers around you to make sure that you get what you need. And so regardless of where you are with the mother-daughter relationship, know that God can change that.
Amen.
Miracles can happen.
And sometimes I think that when we stop expecting us from our moms, it gives you permission to heal.
Yeah.
Like when you realize that when she said spiritual mama, sometimes you need a spiritual mom, so you stop expecting that from your mom that don't have it to give to you.
Right.
And then it allows you just to have a relationship with your mom.
Yes, thank you. Thank y'all. I'm glad y'all were here. Thank you, Apostle Ann. Yes, so this is what we're gonna do. Have y'all ever accidentally joined a church? Accidentally. I gotta tell this story real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Because at Limitless,
She called me.
there's a class.
Accidentally.
Yes. So in order to teach a class, right, I asked Pastor Kim. I asked Pastor Kim, I said, can I teach a connection group? She said, yeah, you just got to go through the class. I said, okay. And so I went and signed up for the class, get plugged in. And I'm thinking this is just how you learn, how you get plugged in. Like, this is how I'm going to get the information I need to run the class, right? And so I'm sitting in the class and I said, oh my goodness, this sounds like new members class. And so I immediately, I text my husband, I said, I think I might have accidentally joined church. Because we were already coming to Limitless. He was leading worship sometimes, but he wasn't there full time yet. And so I was like, my husband is going to get me. I didn't accidentally join church, and I didn't even tell him about it. And so, y'all, the best mistake.
Oh, that gives me chills.
The best mistake I made. Didn't join on purpose, but I'm so glad that I'm there. Yeah.
Super honored.
And Pastor Kim just came in and really loved on me. And that's why I say, leave space for spiritual mothers, too. Because the way she loved me, God showed me, man, I got so much to say.
Say it.
Oh.
It's your
You're right. So I had a dream way before I even knew who Pastor Kim was. And in that dream, God showed me her face. He showed me and Daniel kind of up on a stage. And he showed me her face afterward. And he said that she was going to help us to get to the next level. And I said, woke up, I told Daniel, I said, hey, I just had a dream. It was this white lady. I don't know her name. I seen her before. She got funky hair. And God said she's going to help us get to the next level. And so both of us, and so I started Googling. I know I seen this lady before, but I don't know her name. So I'm Googling trying to find it. And I found a picture and I said, this is her. And so I'm like, Real Talk Kim. So I went back to Daniel it's Real Talk Kim. And he said, oh, okay. And I said, and guess what? She got a church right in Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. So we showed up at your church. You weren't there that week. And so we were sorry. And so we were well, I don't know what else to do with the dream. So we just kind of, we may have come back again. I can't remember because it was again, years ago. And so I kind of put that down, right? I didn't really think about it again after that. And one day I came home and Daniel said, guess who just called me? It was you. I said, oh my God, do you remember the dream that I had? And so Daniel was like, yes, I was able to even pull it up from my notes. And so yeah, I knew that you were supposed to help me in some way. And I said, and once we connected, I said, well, what does that really look like, Lord? So you're saying she's going to help me get to the next level, but what does that look like? And guess what it was, y'all?
Tell us.
Your love. Oh. It was the way she loved me. I needed to see that. I needed to be able to go into, and we've been at some churches, y'all. It's not always cupcakes and rainbows. Sometimes you come in and you aren't really welcome. It's unfortunate, but that is not what I felt with Pastor Kim. Like, she loved on me. And I said, but she doesn't even really know me. How is she loving me so hard when she doesn't know me? And so that love, it started to heal wounds I didn't even know needed to be healed from church hurt. Yeah. Like, oh my goodness, that love. And so I thank you for that.
So honored.
I thank you. Because that love is what I needed to get to the next level. God was like, I can't sing you to where you're supposed to go until you know how to love people correctly, until you love them with your whole heart, not just, oh, I'm gonna love you a little bit then. No, pure and genuine love. And that's why that's one of the goals of this retreat, that we will feel love from each other and from God. So yeah, that love, that was what I needed. I didn't even know. Thank you for being you.
So honored. So proud of you.
Thank you. So we're going to move into worship. We're going to hear more from Pastor Kim. We're going to move into worship, and then Pastor Kim will be back up here to speak.
Can't wait.